Hi guys, so sorry it's been such a long time since I've blogged, but I finally found the time. So this blog is about my trip last weekend. So Andy and I took a Friday morning bus to Siena, and luckily we got our bus tickets, we read the bus schedule right, we figured out where we needed to get on the bus, we got on the bus, took a picture, was like, yeah, we're going on a trip. And we were on the bus for a while, and then all of a sudden, uh, a lot of people were getting off the bus, so we followed. When we got off the bus, there was good news and there was bad news, and it took us a while to figure out the bad news. The good news was we were still in Italy. The bad news was that we were still 30 kilometers north of Siena. How do you say I'm lost? What does this book say? This map's of Germany. I thought I was in Italy. What? Andy and I briskly walked back to the bus station and very calmly discussed whose fault it was that we got off at the wrong bus stop. Lucky for us, we legally or perhaps illegally got back onto a bus going to Siena and made it there only an hour and a half behind schedule. Once Andy and I checked into our hotel, we did what any rational person would do when they're in a new place for the first time. We slept for 4 hours. When we finally woke up around 8 o'clock, we decided to go to dinner, but realizing, of course, that neither of us had thought of buying a map, we didn't really have much choice where to go since we didn't want to get lost. So we just went down the street and we ate at this local restaurant. I had some sort of tortellini, he had some sort of meat dish, and it was really good, and it was probably the best meal that we had all weekend, or at least the best meal we got for our money. Andy and I had read in one of our Europe travel books that you could get this one pass for like €8, and it would get you into the 6 most popular sites to see in Siena, which are pretty much the only things you can see in Siena. So we went to the ticket booth, and unfortunately it was a little more expensive than we thought. I mean, not really, I guess that much more expensive. It was like €10. And it got us into 6 different places. And the first place we went to, we kind of did this in an anticlimactic order because we did the best thing first, and then as we went on, like everything wasn't as exciting as it probably would have been if we hadn't done the cathedral first. So we went to the Cathedral of Siena, and that was actually built in the 1200s, and different pieces of it were built at different times. I know the floor alone took over 300 years to build. And then there's this beautiful stained glass window of the Last Supper, and that was built in the 1500s. Walking up to the cathedral, it looked a lot like the one here in Florence. I actually haven't been inside that one yet, though. So here's some inside pictures that I took. The black and white are Siena's colors, so you see that on the pillars. And this is one of the roof, or the ceilings that's decorated. Lots of paintings, bright colors here. And I didn't notice this at first, but there are really creepy men up there and kind of scared me. Here's the library, some pictures I took inside. I don't have a big picture of the library, so here are just some books and some of the detail into the books. I don't know if they're paintings or drawings, but they were sparkly, so of course I took a picture of them. Another place that our pass got us was up this kind of walkway, and it was next to the cathedral, so once you walked up on top, you could actually turn one way and see the cathedral. Ooh, ah. There were 2 different levels to this panorama-like view, and if you turned around on the topmost level, then that's where you saw all the houses, and they had snow on the roof, and it was just like a really, really pretty sight. Bellissimo! So my favorite part of the weekend was this museum that we went to, and it was in the same plaza as the cathedral, and it only cost us €3.50 to get in, and we thought it was something that we could do in maybe 2 hours, 3 hours tops. This museum is something you really have to take your time, and it would take, you could probably go back a couple times and still see things that you didn't see the first time. One thing that I really liked about it is that they didn't really have restrictions. You could kind of just wander wherever, and it's not a very busy tourist season now since there's so much snow and it's so cold. So Andy and I were kind of like the only people in the museum at this point in time. So some of the things you could really interact with, it was fun, and some of the stuff they had set up downstairs was really, really dark, and so we'd like be like, oh, I bet you won't go look behind that curtain, or I bet you won't go put your head over there in the dark. And so, I mean, they're probably like watching us on their surveillance cameras, like stupid Americans. But one other thing is we got to walk along this boardwalk, and that was really dimly lit, and they had like these glass cases, and they had like fingers and feet and heads and stuff in them, like just the bones, and they were like all deteriorated and gross and gangly, and it didn't really tell you whose bones they were, but they were just like all these bones in these plastic gold cases. So that was kind of interesting to see, and it kind of like gave you the creeps because you're like, ew, those are actually people's bones. And there was this one area that was blocked off by a cage, but um, it was just stairs, and it just kept going down, 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 down until it was like absolutely dark. And Andy and I were saying that it was probably like the gateway to hell or something like that. There were a couple areas like that that were really, really scary, and you probably couldn't pay me enough money to go down there because I've seen way too many scary movies. The last day that we were there, Andy and I just kind of walked around because it was really sunny out and it was still a little cold. But here are just some pictures from our walk around, and you can see the snow in the background. And this is a further picture of the church. And then get ready, creepy lady, and she's naked. So those are just some highlights from mine and Andy's trip to Siena, and I hope you liked the pictures. And my next vlog is going to be about Carnivale, so stay tuned for that.